Luisito Capote, and we're back with some more Yu-Gi-Oh content. Man, I just want to give a shout out to the intro that I now have for the Yu-Gi-Oh content. Thank you to my friend Tristan, who has been on the channel before, so if you know him, you know him. But he is an insane editor, and he came up with that intro, and you know, I helped a little, but it was mostly him. So thank you so much, Tristan, for doing that. And now let's get into the video. So right now I'm going to do a short version of the deck profile, which that's what we're doing today, a deck profile. It's actually a really interesting deck. I think it's really fun, and it's really just cool. I think it's just a cool deck. So this is going to be the quick version of the deck profile, so I'm just going to go over the ratios and everything if you guys just want to look at you know, ratios and stuff, which is like understandable if you don't want to do anything else, because it's whatever. But anyway, let's get into it. I'll start with the extra deck. So first we have our rank 4s. So we have one Abyss Dweller, one Baguska, one Utopia double, one Exorcister Azophiel, because Azophiel you can actually use her bounce effect if you don't have an Exorcister as material. Then we have one Tornado Dragon and one Zeus. Then we have, for the links, two Nightmare Unicorn. One can be a Phoenix if you want. And actually, I forgot to mention, there's actually 13 cards in this extra deck right now, because one is supposed to be one more Abyss Dweller, and one is supposed to be one more Baguska, but I don't know where they are. So, but anyway, then this is any flex spot. I just have this because the extra deck doesn't really matter. Most of the time, you're not going to be going into it. Most of the time, you're just doing the extravagance. But for now, I have the extra deck because it's cool, and I like to have 15 cards. Extravagate, Fairjeet, the Burn Blossom, because she's cool, and Underworld just because sometimes you have a lot of monsters, and she's always just anti-cheese, you know? Now, let's get into the real deck. So the extra deck is basically inconsequential for this deck because you're never going to use it. And if you do, it's going to be very rarely. Most of the time, you're going to be using your main deck a lot more. So we have 3 Arlecchino. He's the main boss monster of the deck. Arlecchino is actually insane. He's really cool. He sort of works like a multi-faker, but not really. But anyway, 3 Arlecchino. Then we have 3 Amazement Assistant Delia. Delia is really cool. She gets you a special summon. She's how you get into your rank 4s. Then we have 3 Amazement Comica. She is basically like the starter if this deck had a starter. So it's her normal summon effect, but we are playing the Adventure engine in this deck because it works really well with it, and because you don't special summon this deck at all, or like your normal summon, it doesn't really usually matter. Like if you normal summon Comica, it's fine, but like most of the time it's like you don't mind if you don't get the trap search. Then we're playing one Wandering Griffin Rider and one Illegal Knight. I think Illegal Knight is really good, especially when you're going second and you have your adventure stuff and you're like, yeah, Griffin Rider won't be that good. Then we're not playing the biggest of adventure engines. We're just playing 2 Enchantress and where's the right? 2 Rite of Aramasir and 1 Fateful Adventure and 1 Draco back. So we're not maxing out 3 on 3 because I think there's just better things that you can play right now. And yeah, then we've got 3 Amazing Time Ticket. This is basically your Rhoda. This is what searches you any monster or on your opponent's turn any of your trap cards, which is really cool. Then we've got 3 Pot of Extravagance because you don't use your extra deck at all, and like draw 2 is insane in trap decks. 1 Double or Nothing for the Utopia stuff. And now I will actually go into detail on these 2 cards, even though it is the quick version, because this works. These 2 cards work actually kind of insane in the deck, just because a Splight and Tier Elements are a thing. So Amaze Attract and Rapid Racing, what this card does is if it's equipped to your monster, your Amazement monster, it shuffles back a card in the graveyard to the deck as a trap effect. So it's like a quick effect basically. Which, if you don't know, Tier Elements needs their cards to be in the graveyard to resolve, to be able to fusion summon with them. So if you, it's basically just a DD Crow, and when it's equipped to your opponent's monster, you can switch it to defense position and raise its level by 1. Now this is really good against Splight because Splight needs level 2 monsters on the field to be able to do anything. And you have if you have a combination of Amaze Rapid Racing and Horror House, most of the time they won't be able to play against it. And here's why: it is because Horror House, what it does is when it's equipped to your opponent, opponent's monster, it is a Book of Moon. So that means they won't count as being level 2 on the field. They won't be able to do any synchro xyz plays. So it's good against math mech, it's good against tier elements. This is not so much good against tier elements, but you can use the imperm effect, which is, if it's equipped to your monster, it's basically a once per turn targeted negate, which is an imperm. So you can use the imperm effect, but that effect is once per turn. But unlike all the other cards, what the cards do is that once you activate them, usually they like fall to the graveyard. The Rapid Racing and Horror House, when it's equipped to your monster, it doesn't fall off, but when it's equipped to your opponent's monster, it does, because it is face down and you can't be equipped to it. Then one Merry-Go-Round when equipped to your monster, it's basically a protection for your Arlecchino. It makes it so it can't be destroyed once while it's on the field. You send that card into the grave instead. Then 3 Cyclocoaster, because it's another Rhoda, but also because it's an MST. So this is your spell and trap card out if there's anything that screws you over. Then 1 Gravedigger's Trap Hole, because I had 1 more space in the deck, and that Gravedigger Trap Hole is good. It's basically DD Crow. Not basically, it's basically Ghost Spell. But then 3 there can be only 1, because this deck plays around there can be only 1. The adventure stuff is all different attributes, and then all of your main deck monsters, Comica and Delia, are the same attribute, but that doesn't usually matter. Or not the same attribute, the same type, sorry. But it works really well in this deck, and it can hose some of the meta decks. And then Torrential Tribute, Torrential Tribute's really good. It's a good card. It's not good against tier elements, but you can actually, I would maybe switch this in for Anti-Spell Fragrance. But I don't know, maybe Dimensional Barrier. But I like Torrential Tribute just because on top of everything else, you have this as well. And this is not once per turn. It's just really good. I really like it. But yeah, that's the deck profile. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I really like this deck. Now, one caveat that I have is that if you're going to play this deck, the reason it needs the adventure stuff is because it relies on its trap cards, right? Like the Arlecchino is good and all, and if you get Arlecchino plus adventure, it's really good. But a lot of the time it's very like resource oriented, so like you have to really know how to control your resources, really know when to flip your cards. If not, then it's not going to be good. You have to really practice with this deck, and really just find cool ways of playing it. But anyway, guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please leave a like, maybe subscribe, and if you want, ring the notification bell for more videos. I'll see you guys later. I hope you have a good day.